In this video, we're going to be looking at operations with percentages. So the first one we're looking at is finding the percentage of a quantity or amount. So the formula we use here is you have your percentage over 100 and then you times this by the quantity. So for example, if we're trying to find what 12% of 95 is, we have our percentage. We put that over 100, so 12 over 100. And we times this by the quantity or the amount, so 95. We can put that in the calculator and we get 11.4 kilograms. So 12% of 95 is 11.4 kilograms. So the same thing here, we put our percentage over 100, so 0.4 over 100, and we times it by our amount, throws 3,720. And we get $14.88. Now you'll notice in both of those examples, I made sure to keep the units. Now that is something that'll come up often. Remember to always keep your units. So now what happens if we're finding a new value after there's been a percentage increase or decrease? So when you're trying to increase something, it's your percentage plus the increase. So you always start with 100, so it's going to be 100 plus whatever the increase is. So if, for example, if I have an increase of 10%, I'm going to go 100 plus 10 over 100, and I'll times it by whatever the quantity is. And the same way with the decrease, it'll be 100 take away whatever your percentage decrease is. So for here, we've got 80 kilograms and we're increasing it by 2.5%. So we will have 100 plus 2.5 over 100, and we're going to times it by 80 kilograms, and we end up with 82 kilograms. All right. An alternative way to do this would be to find what 2.5% is. So go 2.5 over 100 times 80. That gets me 2 kilograms. And then to find my total increase, it would be 80 kilograms plus 2 kilograms equals 82. So both ways work. So if I'm doing a decrease, it's the same way, except I'm going to have 100, take away 25, all over 100 times 130 kilograms. And we end up with 97.5, oh, not point K, 0.5 kilograms. In the same way we could have done it, we could have found what 25% is and then take that away from the original. The next thing we're going to look at is expressing quantities as percentages. So in this form, we have the amount you have over the total, and then we times it by 100. So in the first example, we have 15 out of 18. So it's going to be 15 over 18 because we have 15. The total was 18. We times it by 100. And we end up with 83.333. So I'll round it up to 83.3%. So again, we have 85 centimeters out of 5 meters. Problem here is we have centimeters and we have meters. So we need the same unit. So must have same units. So we need to convert our 5 meters. So 5 meters times 100 equals 500 centimeters. So 85 over 500, and we times it by 100, and gets us 17%. And lastly, we're going to look at something called the unitary method. So the unitary method is used to find the whole amount when we're only given part of that amount. So for example, we know what 15% of something is. We can use this to find out what the total was, what 100% is. So the first thing you do is you find what 1% is by dividing by the known percentage, and after that you multiply it by 100 to find the new whole amount. So in our example here, Charlie received a 15% discount on the market price of a sound system. And if this was a saving of $165, what was the market price of the sound system correct to the nearest dollar? So we know that 15% is $165. If I wanted to find what 1 is, I would need to divide both sides by 15. So what that does is that gets us to 1% equals 165 divided by 15, which is 11. All right, so we know 1% is $11. Now I want to get to 100, and to get from 1 to 100, we times it by 100. I'm going to do that to both sides. So now I have 100% equals 1,100. So the original cost was $1,100. All right, so first thing you do is you find what your 1% was by dividing. So we knew we had 15%, so we divided both sides by 15. That finds us what 1% is, and then we times that by 100 to get what 100% is. So to recap the video, remember when you're finding a percentage of a quantity, it's the percentage over 100 times the quantity. If you're increasing something, it's 100 plus whatever the increase is over 100 times that quantity. For a decrease, it's 100 minus whatever the percentage decrease was over 100. Then you times it by the amount. If you're finding a percentage, it's the amount you have or you're looking at over the total amount. And then you multiply this by 100. When you're dealing with the unitary method, remember we use this to find the whole amount of something, of an amount we know. So again, in our example, we knew what 15% was, and we used that to find out what 100% was. So the first step was to find what 1% of the amount by dividing by that percentage by 15, and then we multiplied it by 100 to find the new whole amount.